In Britain, you're never far from a river. And perhaps you don't give your nearest river a second glance. But wildlife cameraman Charlie Hamilton James and his family think you should. For over 10 years, Charlie's lived with his wife Philippa and their 3 sons by a beautiful stretch of a small West Country river. And this year, Charlie's on a mission.
I'm going to prove that the lives of the animals on this ordinary British river are as exciting and as dramatic as they are anywhere in the world.
Over the course of an entire year, Charlie and his family have been getting to know their wild neighbours along the river by making an intimate film diary of their lives. They want to show that these ordinary animals on this ordinary river can be extraordinary. They've been getting to know the wild otters on the river, the conflict within a kingfisher family, and trying to conserve a colony of rare water voles. Charlie's had a helping hand from his 3 boys, Fred, Gus and Arthur, while his conservationist wife, Philippa, has been doing whatever it takes to keep the riverbank thriving.
I found the poo!
You found a latrine!
I found the poo!
Now, as the summer comes to an end, Charlie has his closest otter encounter yet.
This has got to be one of the best nights otter filming I've ever had.
Philippa's voles have been biting off more than they can chew. And Charlie and Fred have the ultimate bird-watching experience. Over the last few months, Philippa's been encouraging the family to do some conservation work, and Charlie's been getting them out and about on the river to help with the diary.
Sorry.
He hasn't found it easy. The boys don't seem to share their dad's obsession with the river. But they've seen some great stuff.
Dad, I see another. It's a lovely thing. Everything got ready and useful.
This time for the diary, Charlie's starting to use all his filmmaking kit to learn more about the animals along the river by doing some experiments on them. But first, there's been a surprise discovery. Just downriver from the house, where the river becomes shallow, Charlie's found something he wasn't expecting.
I've got him. I can see.
It's a creature he thought was extinct on the river, an eel. And he's called Philippa down for a look. The problem is, Philippa is terrified of eels.
She's got a real phobia of snakes and worms and things. And this kind of ticks all of her big phobia boxes.
Eels were once common on our rivers, but in recent years the population has crashed.
Is it all right there?
You're going to come and have a look at it? Do you want me to show him to you then? Shall I try and catch him?
Yeah, I'd love that. Or shall I just take your word for
He's
it?
not going to bite you, is he?
It's not the biting, it's the wriggling,
Well, we all wriggle, love.
unpredictable movement. I'm going to have to put the sunglasses on because I've got my lenses in. I can't see.
Oh, I'm going to touch him.
No, don't touch him. Just wait. Just leave him alone. He's quite happy sitting there.
Why?
He's quite happy. He doesn't need to be touched or
He's
moved.
a big guy. I can't believe we got such a big eel on this river.
Which I want your waders on. I don't want him to come near me.
I do. It'd be hilarious. He'll freak out. There. See that? Oh, he's off.
Oh, no, don't. You're horrible. I can't cope with them.
He's a cracker. Look at him. Imagine him jelly.
This is a rational fear. It's completely irrational.
But this is amazing, love. I know you're freaking out.
Charlie hasn't seen an eel for years on the Halcyon River, so this rare find is great news.
To have an eel that big.
Don't let him out.
I'm not going to let him out.
Don't let him out, all right?
But to
Okay?
have that guy on this river,
Just
Off
keep
it.
that up. Keep that up a bit.
It's alright, you can't jump. It's not a kanga eel. Look, he's going in reverse.
You could go backwards.
Yeah.
That's even more horrible. I am going to have so many nightmares now.
Philippa, who normally has a great enthusiasm for good conservation news, is finding it hard to enjoy the moment.
Don't let him out. Don't let him out. Okay?
She has to make a retreat.
These you found. There must be more then, mustn't there?
Yeah, there's quite a few in that little bit you're about to walk through. He's a cracker, isn't he? He's really slimy.
But of course, for 3 young boys, a 2-foot-long slimy river monster couldn't be better.
Do you like the eel?
Yeah.
You're going to touch him? See if you can pick him up.
I don't touch
I don't want him outside the net, mind.
How do you pull him up?
Be careful with him now. Are you wiping eel slime all over your trousers?
Eels are now so rare, the boys have never seen one on their river.
Like a snake, you open his mouth. You look like a snake.
The amazing thing about eels is that you think, oh, they're just a sort of scummy fish that lives in canals and things, but actually they go on one of the greatest journeys of any animal. And they from here, when this guy is older, he's what we call a yellow eel now, he's not in colour, he's not old enough yet. He'll go silver when he gets older. And he'll make the journey from this river down to the sea. And then he'll swim the entire length of the Atlantic Ocean to a place called the Sargasso Sea, off the coast of South America, where he will get together with millions of other eels, and that's where they breed. And their babies make the same journey back again and come back up the rivers in Europe.
The eel's migration is one of the most mysterious journeys in the animal kingdom, and the disappearance of these remarkable creatures from our rivers is a real tragedy. Finding one for the diary is a revelation. It's midsummer, and upriver from the house, the kingfishers have had chicks. This is the male bird's second nest this year. He had another previously with a different female. To feed these chicks is quite a challenge and requires a lot of fish. Charlie is an expert on kingfishers, and this summer he wants to investigate exactly how many fish it takes to rear a family of them. Charlie's kit room is an Aladdin's cave of camera equipment, both high-tech and antique. What he wants is a piece of kit that can count, and somewhere he thinks he's got just the thing. Armed with the necessary bits, Charlie heads up to the kingfisher's nest to start his experiment.
I've got this bit of kit, which is an infrared beam, and it goes between these 2 units, and it's got a little counter, and it counts the number of times that the beam is broken. So if I put it kind of about 1 metre apart with the beam going right across the nest hole, we will be able to find out how many times those chicks are getting fed, because the only reason the adults will go into the nest is to feed them. There's no other reason to go in there. So these 2 units now are sending a beam between each other, and every time the bird flies up into the nest, it'll count it. It's now 9 o'clock. I reckon we should give it till 5.
Everyone's part. The counter has recorded 72 events. 1 every time the bird goes into the nest, and 1 every time it comes out. So Charlie divides the figure by 2 to give the number of visits, 36. After running through an awful lot of complicated maths and natural history, Charlie comes up with a rather astonishing figure.
By my calculation, that's about 5,000 fish they feed their chicks in a breeding season, which is a pretty staggering number. And a pretty enormous pressure on this bit of river, if you consider that just that 1 pair of kingfishers is getting through 5,000 minnows just to feed their chicks in 1 season.
It's a lot of fish, but the kingfisher's giant appetite isn't bad for the river. It's actually quite good for it. Every year the fish reproduce in such large numbers that by the summer months they reach epidemic proportions. In taking so many fish for their chicks, the the kingfishers help return the fish population to a size that the river can support. So the birds and the fish are in a natural balance with the river. But there's one creature that isn't. A creature that conservationists hate, but the kids are going to love. The signal crayfish. These heavily armoured crustaceans can grow up to 7 inches long and sport a fairly nifty set of nippers. Today, Charlie and Philippa have brought Fred, Gus and Arthur out onto the river to try and find some.
You want to go home? Yeah. It's getting a bit cold, isn't it? Right, there's always otter poo on these rocks. Yeah. Well, they're everywhere. There, look.
Got him! I'm not holding him.
Look at this guy.
Get him! Oh, God, he's a beauty.
Oh, he's massive.
I am not holding him.
Slays
I'm not
him.
holding him. Look at him. I can't hold him. I'm slipping. How do you tell their signals?
Look, you can tell their signals, look. They've got these red under their claws.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. And they're actually supposed to use them for their little sort of battles they have. Oh, look, there's a kingfisher coming. He's sitting on the bridge right there. Look. He isn't even bothered by him. He's going to see you, Gus. Oh, he's off. You know, this guy could have a job on a runway. Yeah, come in, yeah. He's doing it, look. You should get him a job at Heathrow, look. Anyway, the problem with these guys is that they've been introduced from America and they've actually, through disease and by being bigger and more powerful, have basically annihilated our native crayfish, which are called the white-clawed crayfish.
Look at him. Sheesh.
Sheesh! Ah, there's loads! They're everywhere!
There are no white-clawed crayfish left on the Halcyon River. They've all been wiped out by disease carried by these American invaders. As a conservationist, Philippa is interested in the plight of white-clawed crayfish. She wants to show the boys a creature that's vanished from the river in their lifetime. There's a small colony on another river nearby. It's a secret location known as an ark site.
Gus, no. Don't get in the water. No.
Pete Sibley from the Environment Agency has been bringing the white-clawed crayfish here to keep them safe.
It's really important we don't get any diseases or any germs or anything that might be on our boots that we can't see, and we could accidentally put them into the water.
Yeah. How precious is this site, Pete?
It's an ark site, and what we mean by that is it's isolated from any sort of threat of disease. There are no signal crayfish here. It's quite well hidden away, so there's a good chance that people won't accidentally spread disease into the river.
Can we see one?
We'll do our best.
I mean, again, this might be the last opportunity you ever get, boys, at this rate.
Pete's disinfected his boots, so it's safe for him to get into the water. And it's not long before he finds one of our native white-clawed crayfish.
Well, I've found one.
You found one?
Yep.
Oh, fantastic.
What we can do is pop it carefully onto the tray and you can have a close look.
That just looks like a very, very small signal crayfish.
Yeah. Superficially, they are very similar looking animals. There are some differences. The native crayfish is also known as the white-clawed crayfish because underside of its claws are, they're creamy white.
Yeah, but they're not bright white. I mean, it's not,
No.
it's not, here I am with my white claws,
Absolutely
is
not.
it? So if you were going to go and do that thing of, let's get loads of crayfish out the river and barbecue them, that's what worries me. Looking at that, I could easily make that mistake.
That's part of the problem with that kind of approach and where that message gets out. The last thing that we want to do in some situations is to encourage people to take crayfish out, partly because they might not know which species they're dealing with, and also because when they move from one site to another one looking for crayfish to trap, it's so easy to spread disease, and if we got a whiff of the crayfish disease in this stream, then he'd be dead, and so would all the other crayfish in here.
How much are left in the country?
Down here in the southwest of England, we've lost about 70% of our native crayfish. So that's more than half have completely disappeared since the signal crayfish and disease has come in.
Bye-bye.
Say bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Good luck.
By creating these ark sites, conservationists are hoping that one day white-clawed crayfish could be returned to all of Britain's rivers. Earlier in the year, the family built an aquarium in the garden so they could watch life underwater. Now some of the inhabitants, the dragonfly larvae, are about to do something extraordinary, and Charlie wants to capture it for the diary.
I've just got this out of the aquarium, and it's the most stunning dragonfly larva. And the reason I got him from the aquarium is because I'm going to move him to a smaller aquarium next to the house. And what I want to do is I want to watch him turn from that into a full winged dragonfly. And that process, I've never seen in real life. Watching that happen is pretty incredible. But it happens very slowly, so to sit and watch it would be a bit like watching paint dry.
Charlie's solution to this problem is to make a time-lapse. By taking one picture every couple of seconds and then playing them together, he'll speed up an event that takes several hours. Dragonflies usually hatch at dusk, so with cameras and lights in place, Charlie just needs to wait for the action. Just after dark, the dragonfly begins to hatch. As the camera starts clicking, there seems no change. But when the pictures are joined together, the time-lapse reveals how the dragonfly bursts out of its body.
I have to say, it is an amazing thing to watch. It's just amazing. It's so much bigger than what he's just got out of.
First, the head and shoulders break through the hard shell. It then forces more of its body out until it's hanging upside down. It holds this position for a while to build up strength before flipping itself upright. The dragonfly then pumps fluid into its wings to expand them so they can dry. This takes several hours. It's a remarkable transformation.
It makes you kind of marvel at things that we all take for granted. You know, we all see, I guess, butterflies and blue bottles and dragonflies zipping around all over the place, and we never really take any notice of them. When you see something like that actually happening, you realise the extent of the engineering that's gone into making one of these things. And it just blows you away, really, when you really look at it and think. You look at each intricate detail on that dragonfly and its incredible eyes and its mouth structure, its legs and those wings. You think, that's pretty incredible. And you don't need to travel all over the world to find animals that incredible. You look at that and you think, that's just here, all around us. And that kind of makes me pleased.
By morning, the dragonfly's wings are glassy and strong, ready for flight. It can't fly until its body is warm, so it waits for the sun to rise before taking to the air. Hatching late in the summer means that these dragonflies have only a few weeks to breed before the autumn comes. The family were hoping for a hot, dry summer for their diary. Getting out to watch the animals in the rain is no fun. Rather than get beaten by it, however, Charlie has decided to take advantage of it, to turn it into an experiment for the diary. Charlie wants to recount the kingfisher's fish-catching skills because he thinks that the birds will struggle to find fish in the rushing waters.
It's been raining all night, so I've come back to the kingfisher's nest because I'm interested to know how their success rate is affected when the rain brings the river up. So I come back to reset the counter, have a look, between 9 to 5 today, how many times do those birds go into that nest?
Bad weather means the river turns brown as mud and silt are whipped up from the riverbed. When this happens, the fish hide away amongst vegetation and rocks. This makes it hard for the kingfishers to find them. Under these conditions, summer, normally a season of plenty, can quickly turn into a season of famine. And by the end of the day, the figures on Charlie's counter show that the kingfishers have been in and out of the nest just 36 times, which means that they've fed the chicks just 18 times, exactly half the number of visits as when the weather was fine.
So that really proves to me that these birds are getting hit by the rain. And also, rather concerningly, the river's really starting to come up under the nest now. And this rain isn't forecast to finish anytime soon. So these guys could be in trouble. I mean, not only do they run the risk of flooding if this river rises, but if they have, you know, a whole run of days where the river's like this and they're getting half the amount of food they need, there's a very real chance they might not make it.
Charlie's concerns are very real. Every year, kingfisher chicks are lost to starvation. These kingfishers, however, might have found a solution. As the pair struggle to find enough fish, they start to look for other sources of food. And then Charlie's cameras reveal something he's never seen before. The kingfishers start feeding their chicks American signal crayfish, a species that shouldn't even be here.
I just couldn't believe it when I saw those kingfishers going into the nest with signal crayfish. You know, they weren't big, they were small, but that's not supposed to happen. They're not supposed to eat them. And because they were eating them, they managed to save their chicks because the river was flooding, they couldn't see any fish, so all they could get were crayfish. And, you know, they basically survived due to signal crayfish, which is kind of wrong, but quite amazing. And it kind of proves that maybe if you leave everything to its own devices, all these things might start finding their own natural balance.
It's late August, and Philippa is still working hard, setting up a water vole conservation project to help the last remaining population on the river. Recently, a group of volunteers have put out mink rafts to try and catch mink, another invader from America, which has decimated our native water voles. The raft's clay pads will show footprints of any animals that pass through, and if it's mink, a trap can be set to catch them. Philippa's been checking her raft every day and has found no tracks at all. However, an email's arrived from one of the team with some intriguing results.
Tracks. Chris Holloway's photographed tracks on his raft. It seems that the water vole colony is extending upstream from their original ditch. The tracks are of an adult vole. These are the first tracks we've had and they're an adult vole? That's hilarious.
The rafts are supposed to track mink. Ironically, it's their prey, water voles, who've left their marks.
Yeah, going in all sorts of directions.
What these footprints reveal is that the water vole population is spreading, and that's great news. There's every chance that if the population is expanding, it's because the water voles are breeding. There could be baby water voles about, and if there are, Philippa wants proof. It's time for Charlie to get his vole cameras out.
Do you think there might be mummies and babies up there? Do you think that's why they've moved?
Go!
Let's go!
Go, go, go!
I'll walk.
So, Charlie, this is the raft they meant,
Right.
with the vole tracks on.
Oh, okay.
So what I'm hoping is,
Yeah.
and at this time of year, we've probably got some little baby voles.
Oh,
And
that's so cute.
they're so cute. It will be.
So cute.
Would you like to see some film of baby water voles?
Yeah.
To get his shot, Charlie puts in place a remote camera and the voles' favourite food, an apple, something they find impossible to resist. Water voles are incredibly shy, and Charlie's sure it's going to take hours to get the shot, which gives Arthur time to eat an apple and Philippa time to harvest the hedgerows. A few jars of jam later, Charlie checks the camera and gets some surprising results.
Have you eaten all these berries?
No,
that we've
that's
been
really
picking?
weird.
What?
Well, the whole apple's gone. The whole apple's completely gone.
What do you mean they've eaten it?
I don't know, it's gone.
It's
Look,
gone.
Arthur, look. I don't... Well, I'm just rewinding the tape to find out.
What will eat a whole apple? Squirrel?
Deer?
Oopsie.
Oh, there's an apple. Oh!
That's it.
Oh, look. There.
Who's that? Oh no, he's taken him. It's a retreating apple going backwards
Cheeky
down
vole.
the ditch.
I can't believe you can lift a whole apple.
That's very funny. It must
That
be
is
twice
funny.
his size. Is he super
So
vole?
that was definitely an adult. That was a big vole,
Yeah, that
wasn't
was a big vole.
Yeah, look at it.
It's a lovely shot, but it doesn't answer Philippa's question. Are there any babies?
So,
Oh, there's
look!
another
Oh, funny, look.
As Charlie looks at the rest of the tape, another large adult investigates the camera, and then what looks like a much smaller vole comes into shot.
Look, he's having a
This is
bath in the
fun.
apple hole.
That ditch has
Weird,
got
isn't it?
hardly any water in it, has it?
Look.
Oh, that is a
Come back
cute
in.
one.
That is a little one.
That's smaller than the other one.
That
Do you
is a
think that
little
qualifies as a baby?
That's definitely a baby. Look at him.
Do you think?
Tiny.
Yeah. Oh, look, he's put his...
smearing his
Nice.
feet all over the glass.
He ran away!
Hey!
He might come back.
Finally, it's the shot Philippa's been waiting for. A mother vole scampers along, followed by her offspring, with another in the background.
So it's worked. We've got babies.
Oh, look, he's being a water vole.
It's proof that the colony is breeding.
They run around holding their legs.
Come on, then.
Go on then, let's go.
Conserving the water voles on the river has been Philippa's big project this year, and now it seems to be working.
We have a protection system in place so that we can monitor any comings or goings of any mink. We have now identified the fact that there are voles, where they are. We're monitoring other places just in case they appear elsewhere. We know how far away they are from other populations. We know how much they're spreading or not. And we know what we need to do to protect them and enable them to breed. And then what I hope is 5-10 years' time, they're back up and down the river as they used to be in the old days. We've come a long way then from where we were at the beginning of the project, which is, I don't even know if there's any left.
At the start of the project, the water vole colony spread over just a couple of 100 yards. Now it's just over a quarter of a mile. Having captured dragonflies hatching for the diary, Charlie now wants to look at them in flight. Dragonflies fly with incredible speed and manoeuvrability. Their wings beat so fast that we can barely see them. So Charlie wants to slow them down, right down, so slow that he'll be able to see exactly how the wings work and exactly how many times they beat every second. To do this, he's going to use a special camera, one that works so fast that the world becomes slower, over 100 times slower. The first thing to do is test the kit.
What we're doing is we're going to try and shoot a balloon to show how fast this camera can record stuff. We're going to shoot a balloon full of water and watch it explode. And we're going to shoot it at 4,000 pictures a second. And Fred is going to press record when I tell him to. Hopefully at the right time.
Well, I want to shoot the balloon.
You're not going to shoot the balloon. I'm shooting the balloon.
Why?
Health and safety. I'm shooting the balloon. You press the buttons when I tell you. Okay, should we shoot the balloon? When you hear the second you hear that gun, ready, steady. Oh, you did get it. You got it spot on, Fred.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
What?
Fred, that is incredible.
Woohoo!
My God, imagine filming dragonflies like that.
Whoa.
That's one of the coolest things I've ever filmed. And you filmed it, you pressed the button, didn't you? That is incredible.
That was awesome.
But filming a balloon filled with water tied to a piece of string is easy. The dragonflies are going to be a whole different ballgame. Charlie only needs to get one in focus for less than half a second, but it seems an impossible challenge.
It's a complete nightmare. They're so fast, these dragonflies. The moment I find them in the camera, the moment I get focus on them, they've gone again. It's much easier filming a balloon exploding on a piece of string.
Dragonflies hunt small insects and so rely on their speed and maneuverability. Following this movement with a big camera isn't easy. Charlie's going to need a few more days to get to grips with this new toy. Over the last few months, the family has been getting to know the wild otters that live on the river for the diary. They found a mother otter with a cub, and Charlie tracked them down. They're living in an old concrete pipe under a bridge, upriver from the house. Tonight, Charlie set his cameras up outside the drain pipe so that he can film the otters as they leave at dusk.
Okay, yes, Mum. That looks like an adult one. I must think I'm trying to get out.
The mother otter has one cub. It's about 7 months old and a male. The cub will stay with Mum for about a year before leaving to fend for itself.
That's fantastic. That's so cool.
Charlie needs to see the otters coming out of the pipe and see which way they head off hunting, upriver or downriver. If they go upriver, he's going to get ahead of them, because tonight he has a plan, an experiment. Luckily for Charlie, the otters oblige and head upriver. So as the mother and cub otter head upriver, Charlie gets ahead of them by driving to the woods. He knows it will take the otters an hour or two to travel the distance, so he's got time to put his plan into action.
Well, tonight we're having frozen trout.
The first step is to see if wild otters will find a dead fish underwater. So Charlie ties the trout to the riverbed. Now all he needs to do is get comfy and wait. After about 2 hours, the otters arrive.
It's unbelievable.
So Charlie now knows that wild otters can find a dead fish underwater. What he wants to find out next is how. When, of course, he's finished filming dragonflies. Common darter dragonfly are beating almost 55 times every second. That's 15 more beats than has been recorded before.
That's amazing. That's brilliant. Yeah, you can really start to see some of the things that the human eye can't appreciate in real life, of course.
It's like a helicopter, isn't it?
Yeah.
The agility of
So
it.
it's actually
right
turning.
round.
There's a little bend in the abdomen there, a little bit of flexibility.
Then he tucks the landing gear up.
Indeed. Front wings beating slightly out of phase with the hind wings.
Those wings must be incredibly strong, and the dragonfly itself must be strong to sort of exert those pressures.
Yeah.
How's it doing that?
Well, it's got the powerhouse of muscles, the very strong muscles in the thorax. The wing veins are hollow.
Because they look so flimsy.
To save weight. They look very flimsy, but they're very, very strong. And the reason they're strong is because they're actually not flat.
Right.
Have you got a piece of paper? And I can explain why.
Using an A4 sheet of paper, Dave explains to Charlie how the dragonfly's thin wings cope with the pressures of flying.
We're not going to get very far.
The flat piece of paper has no rigidity.
So we want something strong on that. If I actually do what I used to do as a child...
But folding it into a concertina gives it strength.
It's not bending at all, is it?
OK, it's not bending in that...
You think you can do that?
I can't not blink.
Well, don't pick your nose then.
Ow.
Or
I'm trying to move
get
up.
stung.
Young kingfishers just out of the nest will never have seen humans and aren't scared of them. So, if you're still and quiet, it's just possible the baby birds might come incredibly close.
Fred, stop moving.
The problem is, for an 8-year-old, that's a big if.
And stay still.
There's always something to talk about.
What's that on your leg?
That's a weevil.
What are they?
Little beetles.
Why are they called weevils?
Don't move, Fred. It's just the name their mum gave them when they were born. Weevil Knievel, that one's called. You seen how far it can jump?
Hmm?
Give it a little motorbike, yeah, it can jump an awfully long way. Just find a position like this that you're... Oh, don't move, don't move, don't move.
Look, you can see their babies, Fred. Because they've got little white tips on their beaks. And they're just a bit dumpy. And they're not very bright coloured, are they, like their parents?
You moved.
Oh, I did it when he wasn't looking.
It's good though, wasn't it? You're in a right old sock. Why are you in a sock? You just had a kingfisher sitting there. Was all that sitting there doing nothing just too boring for you? Ah, the pain of success gets to everyone, you know. Let's see if another one will come, or do you want to go home? I think that was probably a bit hard on Fred. I just couldn't really understand why he wouldn't stop moving. But it worked, and you know, we did see a kingfisher right next to us. And I think whether he, you know, would say it at the time, I think it was pretty amazing for him.
Fresh out of the nest, the chicks are still relying on their parents to feed them. Over the next 2 weeks, they must learn to fish for themselves, the toughest challenge of their lives so far. They have to be fit and strong enough to survive the coming winter. The family has followed the kingfishers since the early spring. They've seen relationships break up, fights between rival females, and a new generation of chicks arrive. Some of the most remarkable family dramas that Charlie has seen in a lifetime of watching kingfishers on this small stretch of river.
Don't get any better than that, does it?
As the Halcyon River Diary draws to an end, Charlie still has one last experiment to finish. He's discovered that otters can find dead fish in the dark underwater. Now he wants to find out how.
So what we're going to do is use this rather elaborate box of tricks, which sinks underwater with this camera in it. And we should then be able to get a live view from under the water from the kitchen. And we'll have some top shots as well. So if we can see an otter coming down the river, we'll throw this thing into record, and hopefully, if the otter can smell or sense that fish under the water, it'll dive down and pick it up, and we'll be able to get a shot of it. And from that, hopefully try and work out how that otter's finding that fish. Won't we, Arthur?
It's an ambitious plan. Filming otters is very hard. Filming them underwater at night has never been done. Charlie's wired the cameras back to the kitchen for the boys to watch.
This is where we might see them, okay? So we might see them here, and then this is looking down on them, and that's underwater, and there's the dead trout. I'm really nervous now.
What was this?
I'm really
nervous?
because I want this to work.
To prove Charlie's theory, the otter not only has to swim up the river and find the fish, but reveal how it does it to the cameras. The chances of that happening are very small.
No ripples, I've got no otters.
Okay, we've done.
Well, it's nil point for my underwater system.
The boys soon get bored and leave Dad to watch his monitors. It seems the family are not as engrossed in the experiments as Charlie.
Right, now on to more important matters.
Yeah.
Do we go for fuchsia, dark red, being as how it's beginning of autumn, or gold like fallen leaves?
I don't really mind, love. Let's go fuchsia.
No, that's too summery.
Fuchsia's
Gold.
bright though. Fuchsia's orange.
No, fuchsia is pink.
The otters might only swim past the house once a week, and Charlie has no idea when that's going to happen. So all he can do is wait. Four hours later, Charlie spots ripples in the river outside the house, a telltale sign that the otters have gone past.
Hey, here they come, here they come.
Charlie now needs to connect everything up and start recording.
I'm going to telescope them down the river.
The ripples coming into the bottom of the shot mean the otters are on their way and heading straight for the camera.
Yep, here they come. And they're swimming right up that edge to my fish. I can't believe it! Oh my God. He found it straight away. He came up that edge and straight away found that fish. That's incredible. Oh, my heart.
Charlie's so excited because he's just filmed something extraordinary. An otter finding a dead fish at the bottom of a murky river in the dark. Something that otters shouldn't be able to do. Looking back at the footage, Charlie makes a tiny but very important discovery.
When you watch that footage and slow it right down, it reveals something, and that is the otter swims up to the fish, and as it hits it, it puts a bubble out, and the bubble hits the fish, and the otter sniffs it straight back in again. And that happens in a split second. And what that tells me is that the otter is smelling the fish by putting out a bubble, getting some of the molecules off the surface of the fish, sniffing it back in and analysing that.
This tiny bubble bouncing off the fish could be just the evidence Charlie was looking for to prove that otters can smell underwater.
And if they can, then we've just proved completely new science in the garden.
Kingfisher watching doesn't get any tougher than this.
Don't mind one.
Oh, look. You mustn't interrupt Dad when he's talking about poo.
I want to see his bum.
Why do you want to see his bum?
Because I just do. I want to see what ducks' bums are like.
Stinging that one.
Wow! It's amazing!
It is. And it's all done by the bees, mine.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
Do we go and play Mario Kart now? Please?
Yeah, go and play Mario.
Come on! Yeah!
Painful wartime memories surrounding a beautiful Devon beach. Country File is next on BBC One, and then it's television's biggest night of the year at 8. Details coming up in just a moment.